Good afternoon, I hope everyone's well today, or good morning when this goes out. Thank you for watching, it is appreciated as always. If you find value in this video, consider liking and subscribing, it does help the channel out a lot. The Green MP, Carla Denyer, I believe she's an MP down Bristol way, she lost her battle with reality yesterday, and I'm here for it. I thought I'd have a look at the clip, give you my analytical thoughts on the matter, and then explain to you why she is completely wrong. Now, this is the same Carla Denyer that, as far as I can see, has been silent on the trash rivers down in Oxfordshire that have been seen, the corporate level fly tipping. I think migrants have caused it as well, but that's besides the point. She's silent on that. The Green Party doesn't seem to be saying anything about that. But they're all over the communism, they're all over the refugees welcome, they're all over anybody, from their view, being racist. And that's what I'm going to call out on this video. Now, she also, in the wake of the Southport atrocity last year, she had the audacity, when the wider British public was in the dark on who actually committed this, that we needed more migrants, we needed more refugees, we needed more safe and legal routes. Now, at this point, there was disinformation on the internet that a migrant on a dinghy from France had caused the atrocity. That was later disproven. However, she still took it upon herself to stand up in Parliament and not debate or discuss the tragedy, but the reaction to the tragedy. That is her problem, and that's her problem with the migrant crisis as it currently stands as well. It's not the actual migrants themselves, they're the innocent wallflowers that are coming from France to get the freebies. That's not her issue. Her issue is me or you for kicking up a stink about it. I'm going to play the video now. Now, as I say, it's quite entertaining. She does do a Rumpelstiltskin impersonation towards the end of it, and we'll get to that in due course. I'm going to play the video now.
Carla Denyer.
Madam Deputy Speaker, it isn't people seeking sanctuary that are tearing our country apart. It's toxic, racist narratives and the scapegoating of migrants and asylum seekers for what is nothing to do with them. The chronic housing crisis, the running down of public services are not caused by migrants. They are caused by political decisions and by the grotesque inequality.
We're going to pause it there, and I'm going to call bullshit on that straight away. These two things aren't separate, alright? They are linked. And we're going to lump in the illegal dinghy divers with the legal migrants since 1992 for the next part of the experiment. This is where she fails, because she separates the things, and this is the problem with the state. And all its different quangos, they never have joined up thinking. They never put the logic portion of the brain into use. And it's embarrassing. And this top banana, no doubt, has gone to university. So we're going to look at this now. Since 1992, we've added 11.7 million people to the United Kingdom. Alright? In 1992, it was just under 58 million. And now it's just under 70 million. These are official figures, by the way. It's always more when you look at statistics and whatnot on what's actually being bought in supermarkets. It is always up, but we're gonna be generous and we're gonna use the census information. So that's 11.7 million added since 1992 in the last 30 years or so. When was the last reservoir built in the UK? In any of the constituent nations of the United Kingdom, when was the last reservoir built in the UK? Luckily for Carla, and lucky for you, I have the data on this. The last one in England was in Derbyshire in 1992. The last one in Wales was in 1952. The last one in Scotland was in 1983 or 84. And the last one in Northern Ireland was around 1950. You see the problem with the picture? Nobody is updating the infrastructure for the demand. And this is the same all across the country in everything from the NHS to schools to prisons. Why are we letting prisoners out after a third of the sentence or 30% of the sentence? Why are we doing it? Because nobody's bothered to keep pace with demand. We're importing the entire universe to the country, and we're stretched beyond breaking point because we don't know who's coming, we cannot plan. This is the The very opposite of what a responsible government should be doing. So for Carla to sit in Parliament and stand up on her perch and say, you're just racist, you don't want the black and brown people here, that's not true. It may be true for some people. It may also be true that there's a cultural cohesion problem, a religious issue, a religious element, and a demographic and a racial element. You can make the arguments against migration purely on the fact that we are over or nearly £3 trillion in debt and we cannot afford it. None of the governments of either stripe, either Labour or Conservative, have actually updated infrastructure to keep pace with demand. This is the first policy of a responsible government. If you're predicting an increasing population, the responsible thing to do is to make sure you can cope with the demand. That's very, very simple. When you look at housing prices, when you look at NHS wait times, when you look at A&E in the NHS, example for me from a few months ago, I was in A&E for 17 hours from getting in there to actually getting seen by a doctor to actually get treated. 17 hours. And that's an utter disgrace in a supposed first world country. When I was a kid, in the 90s, you could get in and out of hospital within 5 or 6 hours. 5 or 6 hours. It's because nobody is keeping up with the demand. And they just turned on the tap for unlimited mass migration, both legal and illegal. And people, plebs, idiots, like this brain trust in Parliament, can say you're just being racist if you've got a problem. Bullshit.
In this country. Does the Secretary of State understand that attempting to out-reform reform is actually just boosting this baseless far-right narrative and will only deepen divisions when we urgently need leadership and hope instead?
Completely wrong, completely wrong. Any policy is political. And let's just be clear. Migration to the United Kingdom, Carla, honey, sweetheart, baby, is a political choice. So sit down, kitten. It's a choice. Just like not updating infrastructure, just like schools, just like prisons, it is all political choice. What you are trying to do is ring fence migration and say nothing to see here. Everything you can think of, to the age of consent, to if you want to ban smoking, to how many migrants you want in the country, to whether English is the official language of the United Kingdom, all of these things are political choices. Nothing is non-political, alright? Just bear that in mind.
Let me tell her, if it was possible to pretend there wasn't a problem because there wasn't one, I wouldn't be saying there is one. There is a genuine problem in this asylum system and we need someone to sort it out, not to pretend it doesn't exist, which I'm afraid is one of the things that fuels the division in the first place. My own constituents, since I have been Home Secretary, have been telling me directly of abuses in the visa system that they can see with the evidence of their own eyes long before any officials in Whitehall have ever clocked onto those things. It is a moral responsibility when you see something broken to fix it and to make sure that the fact that it's broken is not fueling division in our country. And let me also say to her, it is Green Party politicians who are absolute hypocrites because they talk great language in here and then oppose asylum accommodation in their own constituency.
I'm going to leave that there for the moment, but the situation is infrastructure is the key here. Now, it's not only about the reservoirs, alright, that's one point. That's one element of the water system, alright? What about the drains? We've had flooding in the UK recently, so what about the drains? Let's just have a look at this. This is Joe Public, by the way, doing local government and central government's job after flooding in this United Kingdom. If we cannot deal with basic things, basic services like gritting the streets in winter and unblocking the drains when they get blocked in the autumn, what are we doing with our lives? What are we doing with our country? This is textbook, this is so basic, it's ridiculous. So next time they say to you, it's climate change blocking the drains. Is it though? Is it? Is it? And where's the Green Party on things like this, making sure the bread and butter policy issues of the supposed green agenda are being followed? Where are they on this? The silence on the matter? They're completely disingenuous, and I'm calling that BS out here. When they say you can add infinity migrants when you're not updating infrastructure, it would be irresponsible to let in infinity migrants without keeping pace with the demand. That is exactly what every government since 1997 has done. And if I was Prime Minister, I know you can dream, but if I was Prime Minister, I would be banning all immigration to the country until we get our ducks in a row. It's as simple as that. We cannot afford it with 3 trillion in the hole, and the infrastructure since at least the 1990s is not kept pace with demand. Once that side of the equation has been resolved, we can look at if and when we're generous and we want to add migrants. We can have a reasoned debate. Until then, Britain is full. So we'll end these clips here. So what do you think? Do you think I'm being unkind to the brain trust that is Carla Denyer? Or do you think I'm being too polite? Other opinions are valid. If you think I'm being unreasonable, comment, like, and tell me I'm wrong. If you think I am onto a winner here, let me know. I appreciate your time as always. See you in the next video. Have a good day.